Good morning. Welcome to the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City's AM docket. Today is Thursday, December 10th, 2020. The board will be hearing regular items today. I'm quickly going to go through a PowerPoint presentation regarding these online hearings for all those who are following. The board runs its hearings on the Webex platform. There is a link that is shown on this PowerPoint slide that you can click on and gain access to our hearings. There is an access code and password below. If you do not have a smartphone, tablet, or other similar device, you can call in and listen using the phone number and access code that's listed below. Materials, evidence, and related items. All of the materials that have been submitted to the board and the board is considering can be found on our website under our hearing schedules link under the hyperlink for December 10th, 2020. The board has a 48-hour evidence rule. It attempts to receive all evidence to be put forward at these hearings at least 48 hours before the date and time of these hearings. This means that all evidence should have been submitted for this hearing no later than December 8th, 2020. All evidence for this hearing and all hearings in the future while we're using the WebEx platform should be directed to Assistant Executive Secretary Ms. Stacy Russell. Related items, amendments to applications made by applicants or their representatives cannot be accepted after November 26, 2020 for all the cases heard today, December 10th, 2020. Just the procedures for the docket. After a preliminary reading of these instructions, I, the Deputy Executive Secretary, will be calling the cases in short order. Once the cases are called, I will impanel the applicants and or their representatives and any other witnesses. At that time, I'd ask you to turn on your video and audio feeds so that you can be sworn in and given testimony. After the applicant puts on their case and the board asks questions, the board will then ask if there are any individual members of the public who wish to provide further testimony. At that point, if any member of the public wishes to provide testimony, they can use the raise your hand function. Once you use that function, I'll be able to identify you. I will impanel you. You can turn on your audio and video feeds and be sworn in by the court reporter and then give testimony. Lastly, the board is not authorized to discuss non-case related matters. Just some general ground rules and helpful information for this hearing. So I would ask that if you are not speaking, please mute yourself. The background noise does interrupt the hearings, and we'd ask you to minimize that. Please identify yourself and state the spelling of your name before you speak. As I said, we have a court reporter, and they need to document exactly who is talking at the time. So I'd ask that you speak slowly when you state your name. Note that this event is run live on Charm TV. Individuals who use profanity, are disrespectful, or unruly may be expelled from the virtual hearing. There, again, absolutely no amendments can be made at the time of hearing. Just some helpful reminders. Please try to find yourself a quiet location where you can sit down. If you're going to be giving testimony, please make sure that it's also well lit so that the board can see you. With that, Mr. Chair, I have one preliminary matter, if I may.
Go ahead.
Case number 7, Ji Young Kim, Chol Mon Kim, and Marvin R. Scott, JYK Liquors Incorporated, trading as Fulton Liquor Store, 1801 West Lexington Street. This matter has been postponed and will be placed on a future docket. With that, I will go into. Sorry, I apologize, Mr. Chair.
May I have a moment, point of privilege, Mr. Akris?
Yes.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, at the end of this year, our Deputy Executive Secretary, Tom Akris, is going to be leaving us. And I just wanted to take a few moments to say that during my entire tenure as chair of the Liquor Board, I've had the privilege of working with Doug Page and Tom, and they are a great team, and they run a very effective agency. In my experience, Tom's been involved in all aspects of the Liquor Board's operations throughout this time. He's done an outstanding job. I think my colleagues will concur with me in that. We've worked through some difficult issues, and he's always there, and he is always prepared, and he's really done an excellent job. So I want to take a moment to wish him really well in his future endeavors. I know he's moving on to another challenging position, and I'm sure he'll do an excellent job there. And I want to wish him the very best. And I suspect that the other commissioners might want to say something as well. Commissioner Greenfield?
Commissioner Jones was about to speak, but he's muted.
Okay.
I would like to congratulate Tom on his new position. He's going to be missed. He's a very active and involved person with the Liquor Board, and every effort by him has been a plus for this agency. We will miss him. Good luck, Tom.
I would echo my colleagues' sentiments. I've worked with Tom during my tenure as a commissioner, 4.5, nearly 5 years, and he plays such an integral role to the agency, an agency that I think is operating at a high level. So I applaud everybody in the agency, and Tom's effort along with Doug's in leading the charge has been incredible, and it's a testament to most of our, and if not most, all of our success. So I wish Tom all the best, and thank you, Tom, for all your hard work. Really, really appreciate it. I won't miss the Saturday and Sunday morning texts and emails, but maybe we could figure out a way for those to continue. Thank you.
Commissioners, if I may, I want to just say thank you very much. Your praise humbles me, and I appreciate the support that you've shown for both Doug and I, to do the work, the good work, hard work here at the agency, and if I can quote my executive secretary, to put the train on the track and make sure that it runs on time. So thank you very much, commissioners, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the opportunity. It was a privilege to serve you.
Best of luck, Tom.
Thank you. Calling the first case, Mackenzie Thomas Fowler and Kate Mariah Victoria Shotwell, Crushed Spirits LLC, trading as Crushed Spirits 801 East Ford Avenue. This is an application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service, requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages for a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license. I'm going to be pulling on Mr. Hurdle, who's on Mr. Kadinsky's, I believe, computer, and all the witnesses are with him.
Are you there, Mr. Hurdle?
Yes, here.
Would you identify yourself for the record, please?
Yes, Abraham Hurdle on behalf of Crushed Spirits, LLC. With me is Mr. Fowler and Miss Shotwell.
Okay, are they going to be testifying, or are you going to proffer?
I'm going to proffer.
All right, go ahead, please.
If I may. This is an in-location transfer. The location has been closed for an extended period of time. It was actually closed in August. I know that was a question that I had at one point. Because of the COVID closure from the governor, that, I guess, closure was suspended in some capacity, and ultimately the location's been closed for about 220 days. It is a small tavern in Fed Hill, and it's going to be operated more or less in a similar fashion. The two owners and the two licensees are going to be there pretty much every waking minute that the location is open. Going forward, they're going to get alcohol awareness trained. And if I may, Ms. Shotwell, how much experience do you have in the business?
She's going to testify. Swear her.
No, I'm just going to take the testimony and proffer myself. Ms. Shotwell has minimal experience, but Mr. Fowler has
over 15 years.
He has over 15 years of experience. So there will be experienced operators there. They'll both be getting alcohol awareness certified. And again, it's a small operations. I think the bar is it's less than 1,000 square feet. It's a very small location at 801 Ford Avenue, and it's been there for quite some time.
Will other people be working there, or just them?
They do plan to hire employees as needed. For now, given the kind of prospects going forward for the next handful of months, they anticipate it'll just be the two of them. At some time later, they will take on staff. That staff will be alcohol awareness trained. They will be familiar with the rules and regulations of the Baltimore City Liquor Board.
So once the restrictions are lifted, are they ready to open?
I think we have a couple of inspections, which have been a challenge to get done because of the closures and suspended schedules. But beyond that, there isn't an extensive remodel that needs to be done. I would say that from once things kind of get moving again, maybe a month or two.
Okay. The commissioners have any questions?
None.
I actually really appreciate the name of the new establishment, but I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay. Then do we have outside testimony, Mr. Ackers?
If there are any members of the public that wish to provide testimony, please use the raise your hand function at this time, and I will impanel you as a witness. Mr. Chair, I see no members, I don't see any individuals, members of the public who wish to give additional testimony in this case.
Thank you. Mr. Hurdle, on the basis of the materials that are contained in the application and your extensive proffer, I would vote to approve the application to transfer this D beer, wine, and liquor license with continued outdoor table service and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
I also approve the application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service and the request for delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Based upon the applications and the proffers from Mr. Hurdle, I too would join my colleagues in approving the transfer of ownership with the continuation of outdoor table service and the delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Good luck to you folks.
No exhibits for the
Thank you.
record.
Mr. Hurdle, please note that the board will be sending you correspondence via U.S. mail regarding its decision and further steps for licensure.
Thank you, Tom. And good luck.
Thank you, sir. Calling the next case, Antonio C. Foster, Noir Restaurant and Lounge, LLC, trading as Noir Restaurant, 5716 York Road. There's a request to add outdoor table service and expand current licensed premises to include the second floor for a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky representing the licensee. Who's with me?
Are you going to have him testify or proffer?
I could proffer unless the board has any questions. I think it's fairly straightforward here. Whenever you get it, you're ready, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
All right, this is a transfer of an existing license. The license was transferred about March of 2019. They've done a real nice job in improving the premises. They had a lot of requests for other space on the second floor. Actually, they went through everything except getting the license added. They have their UNO, they have all their permits and so forth, but due to the pandemic and so forth, somewhere in between they had to file the application for the adding it to the liquor license. The outdoor table services was already approved previously. It's on the license. The only change is that when they got it, it was a conditional use. Now, under the change of transfer in Baltimore, it is a permitted use. Other than that, they've had no problems there. They were in front of you last week on a COVID situation between the first and second floor in capacity, but now that the mayor is going to shut everything down, I don't see any problems until everything starts up. And at least luckily, if the board approves the addition, they'll give them a chance to get back in the game.
Okay. And tell us a little bit about Mr. Foster.
Mr. Foster is the current licensee. He's been there. He's alcohol certified. Most of the employees are alcohol certified. And any additional employees they're going to add, they'll try to hire people from the neighborhood if possible, and they'll have most of those certified. And he's the hands-on operator of the establishment.
Commissioners have questions?
I just have one. Well, actually, maybe two. The second floor. How are you going to monitor how liquor is distributed on that floor?
They'll have people up there, and is added to the license, so that whoever's upstairs, if it's a licensed premises, then they'll be the same as the first floor.
But when you have somebody there to monitor, I mean, somebody to make sure that alcohol is being served to someone of the proper age.
Yeah, well, they'll only check everybody when they come in, and they'll have their servers check their ID, to ask for 2 forms of ID most of the time, unless it's obvious. If I came in there, it's pretty obvious that I'm over 21. But anybody that isn't, and they have any question on it, they would then go ahead and ask for 2 forms of ID.
Thank you.
I have one question, Mr. Chairman. With respect to the outdoor table service, can you speak to that? I mean, look, I'm all for licensees expanding and growing their business. This is a licensee that's had a little bit of problems, so I'm a little bit concerned from making sure they're compliant. Can you just speak to the outdoor table service element?
The outdoor table service is on the license now.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, it is. It's on there already.
Because we have it here, it's a request to add it, but you're saying
It's already on there.
okay, and live entertainment's already on the license as well, right?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. No more questions.
Mr. Ackers, do we have other comment?
If there are any members of the public who wish to give testimony, further testimony in this case, please use the raise your hand function. Mr. Chairman, I see no individuals who wish to give additional testimony in this case.
All right, thank you. On the basis then of the materials that are contained in the application and the proffer from Mr. Kadensky, and with the admonition, Mr. Kadensky, that they be very careful if restrictions are lifted, that they abide by whatever they be in the future, I would vote to approve the request to add outdoor table service and expand current licensed premises to include the second floor on this Class B beer, wine, and liquor license.
Before I say anything, I was under the understanding that the outdoor table services are on the license now. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'll approve the request to expand the current liquor license to the premise of at the current premises to the second floor.
Based upon the application, the proffers from Mr. Kadensky, I too would approve the expansion of the current licensed premises to include the second floor.
Elizabeth, for the record.
Thank you.
Mr. Kadensky,
Yes.
you will be mailed correspondence regarding the board's decision and next steps to add that outdoor table service to the license.
All right, I'll look forward to that. And
Sorry, not the outdoor table service, the second floor.
second floor. And then, I'll add to everybody else, and I'll use last time, I'll probably say this to you, I'll call you Mr. Tomas. Tomas, good luck to you, okay?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Calling the next case, Mark Hansen Jr., Neil Chavez, and Russell Sapola, Copper Shark LLC, trading as Copper Shark LLC, 921 East Fort Avenue, Unit 135. There's a request for a transfer hardship extension under the provisions of the Alcoholic Beverages Article 121705B for a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Bringing on those panelists now. I've impaneled all the witnesses, Mr. Hansen, Mr. Chavez, Mr. Sapola, Ms. Hecker. Please turn on your audio and video feeds.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. This is Caroline Hecker, Rosenberg, Martin, Greenberg. For some reason, I'm having some difficulty getting the camera to turn on here. It says it's connected, but it obviously isn't.
Let's proceed anyway. So you have written to the board and requested a hardship extension. Can you fill us in on this, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just for the record, Caroline Hecker on behalf of the applicant. This is an application for a hardship extension to authorize an extension of time to complete the transfer of the license. The board approved the transfer of the license at the same location back in May. This was the very first of the virtual hearings before the liquor board that I had. I'm not sure if it was actually the board's first virtual day, but at that time, we never thought that we would, still be in this COVID situation. But obviously things have been delayed, and with the ever-changing landscape of executive orders governing indoor and outdoor dining, the opening of the new restaurant Copper Shark has been delayed, particularly now with the most recent order going into effect tomorrow that will prohibit on-premise dining both indoors and outdoors for at least the immediate future. We have not been able to complete the transfer of the license to get open prior to the expiration of the 180-day period. We are at this time still planning to open in early 2021, assuming that restaurants are in fact able to reopen, and that the vaccine becomes more widely available, and that things with the pandemic settle down a little bit. But in the meantime, we are requesting a hardship extension for the time to complete the transfer.
For 180 days? Is that it?
Yes, that's it.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
None.
No questions.
Okay. Public comment, Mr. Akris?
If there are any members of the public that wish to provide additional testimony in this matter, please use the raise your hand function. I will impanel you. Mr. Chair, I do not see any individuals that want to give further testimony, but point of clarification for this is a hardship transfer request, so the board can grant an additional 90 days for this matter.
Do you understand that, Ms. Hecker?
Oh, yes, yes. Thank you for that clarification.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Akris. On the basis then of the written request, it was dated October 23, 2020 from Ms. Hecker and her proffer this morning, an explanation, I'd vote to grant the 90-day transfer hardship extension.
I also approve the request for a transfer hardship extension of 90 days.
Based upon Ms. Hecker's proffer and her letter, October 23rd, I too would grant the 90-day transfer hardship extension.
Those are for the record.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Hecker, please note that we will be mailing you correspondence, U.S. mail regarding the board's decision.
Yes, thank you very much.
No problem. Calling the next case, Narinder Tour and Ronald Armand Sanders, AJKJ Incorporated, trading as Hamilton Liquors, 5418 Harford Road. There's an application to transfer ownership of a Class A beer, wine, liquor license. This is Mr. Maslin, who I cannot make, I can make a panelist. I'm pulling him in now.
Well, there you go. Okay.
All right, Mr. Maslin?
Yes, sir.
So
all right. It actually works. All right.
Mr. Maslin, so I'm pulling you on. You need to turn on your video footage.
I got it.
And you need to shut off your other device because there's a real big echo in the background, Mr. Maslin.
All right. I'll try and turn that down or something. Let's see. It's
All right. Can you identify yourself for the record, please?
All right. All right. You there? Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Would you identify yourself?
We can hear you, Mr. Maslin.
Hello?
We can hear you, Mr. Maslin.
Oh, you can hear me. Okay.
And now we can see you.
All right. Good.
All right.
All right.
Please
great.
identify yourself for the record.
For the record, Gary Maslin, and I'm
Okay.
here with our clients, Narinder Singh and Ronald Sanders. This is a request to transfer an existing Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Singh, Mr. Tour, has had 15 years of experience in the packaged goods business, along with his wife. He and his wife will be the primary people to operate this business. There are no changes being made. He is going to be joining the community association in the neighborhood there and possibly moving on top of the store as well. There's living quarters that are on top of the store where the current operators reside. So there's no changes made. He does have alcohol awareness certificates for himself and his wife, and he's looking forward to taking over this establishment. And he's never been before any boards for any violations in the past 15 years.
Is Mr. Sanders just the resident on the license?
Yes, he is the resident. He has about 3 years experience in the alcohol business. He's worked in bars and packaged goods stores.
Okay. The commissioners have questions?
None.
Just confirming, Mr. Maslin, what you said, that Mr. Torr hasn't had any issues at his location in Baltimore County?
No, he had a location in Baltimore City as well, and one in Baltimore County.
Oh, okay, because we only have one from Baltimore County, but that's
His
helpful.
wife was on the one in Baltimore City.
Okay, but neither of them have had any issues with either license.
Neither one have had any issues.
Thank you.
Mr. Akers, do we have others who want to testify?
If there are any individuals, members of the public who wish to give testimony in this case, please use the raise your hand function, and I will impanel you as a witness. Mr. Chairman, I see no other members of the public who wish to give further testimony in this case.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Maslin, on the basis of the materials contained in the application and your proffer, I would vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license.
I also approve the application to transfer ownership based on the information received and the application presented to the liquor board.
I join my colleagues based upon the applications and the proffer from Mr. Maslin. I too would approve the transfer of ownership.
And
No exhibits for the record.
Mr. Maslin?
yes,
With that, we will, the board will be mailing you correspondence regarding the board's decision and next steps for licensure.
and Mr. Akers, I'm going to take this opportunity to wish you all the best in your new ventures. It's been a real pleasure working with you over the years. You've been extremely helpful to the many lawyers and applicants that come before you and inquire, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Mr. Maslin. I appreciate that. And same goes to you as well. Thank you.
All right. All right. Have a nice holiday, guys.
You too.
Same to you.
Bye-bye.
Calling the next case, Miss Ebony Gill, Gianni's Wine and Spirits Incorporated, trading as Gianni's Wine and Spirits, 601 North Carey Street. It's an application to transfer ownership requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages for a Class A beer, wine, liquor license. I'm going to impanel right now Mr. Fogelman, who's the attorney. And I'm going, Miss Gill had some issues prior to with logging on, so she's just on the phone, so I'm just going to unmute her. You will not be able to see her.
That's fine. Is Mr. Fogel?
Mr. Fogelman, can you please turn on your video and audio feed, sir?
Okay. You can hear me obviously, but I didn't realize I turned my video feed off. Oh, there it is. I'm sorry. Normally, yeah, you just let me in. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Akers.
All right, good morning. Would you identify yourself for the record, please?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of Ebony Gill.
And do you want to tell us about this application?
Yes, this is pretty straightforward. Miss Gill was already approved by you to take over this liquor license about a year ago. What she wanted to do is to decouple. It's basically just a corporate change. She's going with a different corporation, Gianni's Wine and Spirits Incorporated, whereas previously she had been, I think the building, the real estate, and the license were under the same company. So she wants to sort those two.
Okay. And has she been open at all?
She has the whole time. And so she's the current licensee, and she's been running the shop there for about a year. And the license is in her name all this time. And as far as I know, no trouble whatsoever. And she, like I said, she can answer for herself if she wants to.
Okay. The commissioners have any questions?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes. Did you have something you wanted to add?
Oh, no, that's accurate. Everything that he said is accurate.
Just if any testimony is going to be given, I just need to have the court reporter swear the witness in.
I don't think she's going to testify at this point.
Yeah.
Commissioners have questions?
I have a question. Mr. Fogelman,
Yes.
I see here where a request is being made to transfer ownership, but you stated that the ownership remained the same. Is that correct?
That is correct, Commissioner. That is exact. It's the same human being, Miss Gill. She's just changing companies.
Thank you.
And it's a pleasure to see you.
No questions, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Public comment, Mr. Akers?
If there are any members of the public that wish to give additional testimony in this matter, please use the raise your hand function so I can identify you and impanel you as a witness. Mr. Chair, I see no I don't see any additional members of the public who wish to give further testimony in this case.
Thank you. Mr. Fogelman, now on the basis of the materials contained in the application and your proffer, I vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license, delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Based on the information received and the application that was filed, I also approve the application to transfer ownership and request for off-premise catering.
Based upon the application, the proffers from Mr. Fogelman, I too would approve the application to transfer ownership with the delivery of alcoholic beverages.
No exhibits for the record.
Just a point of clarification for the record. There was just a request for delivery of alcoholic beverages, no request for catering. Is that correct, Mr. Fogelman?
Yes, yes, it is, Tom.
Okay. Just wanted to ensure the record was clear. Mr. Fogelman, the board will be sending you correspondence regarding the board's decision and next steps for licensure.
Thank you very much, Tom.
Mm-hmm. Calling the next case, John Andrew Weinzierl, RBB LLC, trading as Revisions Books and Bar, 2031 East Fairmount Avenue. It's an application to transfer ownership requesting off-premise catering of a Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. I'm going to impanel Mr. Weinzierl, and I believe it's Lena Bertinelli. Both of them are coming on now. Mr. Fogelman, this is your case, correct?
Yes, thank you, Tom.
They've been impaneled. Ms. Bertinelli, Mr. Weinzierl, please turn on your video and audio feeds. Great.
Okay, Mr. Fogelman, identify yourself again for the record, please.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicant, Mr. Weinzierl.
And will he or she be testifying?
Yes, briefly. Thank you.
Let's swear him in, please.
Okay, please raise your right hand. Ms. Bertinelli, if you can just raise your right hand, too. Thank you. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
Yes, I do.
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
You may proceed, Mr. Fogelman.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. We're lucky today to have Mr. Weinzierl here to take over the old Life of Riley Bar and Grill on East Fairmount Street. The bar itself in that location was always very popular with the neighbors. There's still a dearth of choices to go local up in Butcher's Hill. And it was very popular, and it will be very popular again. And you can see that the Butcher's Hill Association wrote a letter to you in support of the concept that Mr. Weinzierl is bringing forward. We're lucky here in East Baltimore because Mr. Weinzierl has about the best resume you could have as far as wonderful restaurants, excellent food. He was the executive chef most recently at the Chop Tank. Prior to that, executive chef at the Brewer's Art, Maggie's Farm, and many others. The Wine Market. The Liquor Board financial form only requires 10 years of prior employers, but his resume goes twice that long. So he has worked in places where there's extensive alcohol management practices in effect. So he's no stranger to what he's about to undertake as a licensee. The concept Revisions Books and Bar it will be what it sounds like. It will be a coffee shop, a bar, a bookshop, a place for people to hang out, a place for people to grab a bite to eat, and a place to purchase and read books. Mr. Weinsterl is lucky because he has his landlord, Elon Kotz, the owner and licensee at Orto, is his landlord and is able and has been directing him on what to do and for best practices. And so it's a good team. It's a good group of people. It's a good location, and it'll be good for Southeast Baltimore. So on that, if you have any questions of Mr. Weinsterl.
Is Ms. Bertinelli going to also be involved?
She is listed on the application as a member of the LLC. And I believe that they are a couple.
Okay. Is she going to be working in the establishment?
I believe so, and I'll let her speak for herself. She did get sworn.
Yes, my involvement will primarily be with the books and retail aspect, but I do plan on attending the alcohol awareness training as well, since I'll be on premises.
Great. You answered my question. Thank you. Do the commissioners have questions?
None.
No questions.
Okay. Outside commentary, Mr. Akris?
If there are any members of the public that wish to provide further testimony in this case, please use the raise your hand function so I can impanel you as a witness. Mr. Chairman, I do not see any additional members of the public who wish to give further testimony in this case.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Fogelman, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application, your proffer and the testimony received, I vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of this Class B beer, wine, and liquor license with off-premise catering.
Based on all the information received, I also approve the application to transfer ownership and request for off-premise catering.
Just a point of clarification, Mr. Fogelman, just a point of clarification. Is live entertainment already on the license?
No, thank you for asking. They checked the box yes on the application, but once they found out that they had not received prior zoning approval, they withdrew that request.
Okay, so that's not
writing.
So that's not in front of us now. Thank you.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
So based upon the applications and the proffers from Mr. Fogelman and the testimony, I too would approve the transfer of ownership with off-premise catering.
Exhibits for the record. Letter of support from Butchers Hill dated December 7th, 2020. Thank you.
Mr. Fogelman, please note that you will receive correspondence in the mail regarding the board's decision and next steps for licensure.
Thank you, Tom. And this is my last case of the day. So I want to add to what Commissioner Greenfield said at the top of the hearing. You'd call me up on a beautiful weekend afternoon all the time from your office, and I'd say, what are you doing there? But look, you're always working, always doing everything to modernize the agency. You give government employment a great name. 2021 is going to be a big year from you, and I expect lots of success and happiness going forward for you. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fogelman. I appreciate it. Appreciate your professionalism, and look forward to seeing you in the future.
Got it.
Calling the next case on the docket, Bong, and I have Mr. Yu here. He's checked in. I see him. Mr. Yu, I just want to confirm you're here for case number 8, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm going to impanel Mr. Yu right now. Calling case number 8, Bong Soo Ki and David Nathaniel Morgan, Lucky Ori's Incorporated, trading as Ori's Liquors, 1001 East 25th Street. Is an application to transfer ownership of a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Yu, are your witnesses with you?
Yes, they are present in my office.
Great. And
will they be testifying, Mr. Yu?
Your Honor, if I may, I will proffer to the commissioners.
I would identify yourself for the record, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. J.U. representing the applicants, Mr. Morgan and Mr. Key, who's in my office.
Okay. You may proceed.
Thank you. Mr. Key in a offer contract to purchase this Class A packaged goods liquor business located at 1001 East 25th Street. This is a straight transfer request. Mr. Key has been in the dry cleaning business for good 15, 20 years. And obviously, he wants to make the transfer into the liquor business. Since he put in the contract back in August, Mr. Key has been working at the store and being trained for almost over 3 months now. So he's almost very familiar with the business now. And the seller will continue to train him for 30 days. Mr. Key is a person of good moral character. He has very clean record, and he's familiar with the rules and regulations, and also he's certified. Mr. Morgan, he's a 33 years resident in Baltimore City. He's been working for Central Atlantic Toyota for 33 years. He will be the resident licensee. He's familiar with the rules and regulations, and he will be visiting and frequenting the business frequently to monitor and make sure that all the rules and regulations are abided by.
And will Mr. Key be hiring others to handle the alcohol?
Yes, actually, this location has 4 to 5 employees at any given time, and Mr. Key will be assuming all the employees of the current seller. So, with the employees there who has many years of experience there, will help Mr. Key maintain the business in current standards.
Okay. Do the commissioners have questions?
None.
The only question I have, Mr. Yu, is this is a license that looks like it's been operating well. The establishment before the applicant seems like they've been doing the right things. And it looks like this might be in the Charles Village neighborhood. Has there been any outreach to any community organization on this transfer?
Yes, but we're intending on making the contact, but with the COVID-19 situation, it was kind of hard to establish the thing. So we'll continue to reach out to the community, and hopefully in the future we'll meet with the community and work with them.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Yu.
Thank you.
Do we have public comment, Mr. Ackers?
If there are any members of the public who wish to give additional testimony in this case, please use the raise your hand function. I will impanel you. Mr. Chairman, I do not see any individuals who wish to give further testimony in this case.
All right, thank you. Mr. Yu, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application and your proffers to the board, I would vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license.
I also vote to approve the application to transfer ownership based on the proffer by Mr. Yu and the application received.
I join my colleagues based upon the application and the proffer. I too would approve the transfer of ownership.
No, is this for the record?
Mr. Yu, I just want to let you know the board will be sending you correspondence via U.S. mail regarding its decision and next steps for licensure.
Mr. Ackers, for a small favor, would it be possible for me to pick up the pre-approval letter perhaps this afternoon or tomorrow morning? Just because I have to... Yeah.
Mr. Yu, we can talk about that offline, but our office is closed due to the pandemic.
Okay, I'll check back in then later. Mr. Ackers, thank you so much for everything you have done for me, for your support and help, and I wish you the best.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yu. I appreciate your professionalism.
Thank you.
Calling the last case on the docket, Eric G. Smith, Admirals of Fells Point, LLC, trading as Admirals Cup, 1645 Thames Street, is an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service for a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Just bear with me. There are a number of people I'm going to be impaneling. There are 4 witnesses in this case. I'd ask both Mr. Smith, Ms. Thomas, and Mr. Ms. Lynn to turn on your video and audio feeds. Okay. All right.
Is this your case, Ms.
Ms.
Narden?
Thomas?
Yeah.
Yourself for the record, please.
Anastasia Thomas Mardangeli on behalf of the applicant.
And will they be testifying?
Only if there are specific questions for which we need testimony. Otherwise, I'd like to proffer.
Well, let's proceed and proceed, okay?
Okay. This is an application for a transfer of ownership. Their location will not be changing. The location is the Admiral's Cup Restaurant and Tavern located at 1635 10th Street. Now, the location is open and operating. The intent is that this would be a seamless change of ownership with no changes in the operations. Of course, that would be barring any pandemic-related forced closures, which may be happening longer and sooner than we anticipated when we filed this application. The current day-to-day manager of the establishment is Mr. Darren Mislin, and he has been there with the establishment with the previous owners, and he's going to continue to move forward with the new owners. The new ownership group that is coming in is a group that is owned and controlled by Eric Smith, the individual on the application, and his brother, Alexander Smith, with whom the liquor board is familiar because Mr. Alex Smith is an individual named on several licenses throughout Baltimore City, restaurants managed by the Atlas Restaurant Group. Alex and Eric are both key employees and have ownership interests in the Atlas Restaurant Group owned and managed restaurants. So the Atlas Restaurant Group will be coming in to supplement the management efforts made by Mr. Mislin, but the intent is that there will be no substantial change in the way that the business is operated. Mr. Mislin has been is trained in alcohol awareness. All three of these individuals that I named, Mr. Mislin and both Mr. Smiths, are familiar with the rules and regulations that they must abide by, and they will all be intricately involved in oversight and located nearby at all times, since all three do live downtown in the city and are very invested in the success of this establishment.
And the staff that will be handling alcohol will be certified?
That is correct.
Okay. Do commissioners have questions?
None.
No questions.
Public comment, Mr. Akers?
If there are any members of the public who wish to give testimony, further testimony in this case, please use the raise your hand function so I can identify you and impanel you. Mr. Chairman, I do not see any other individuals who wish to give further testimony in this case.
Thank you. Ms. Nardangeli, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application as well as your proffer, I vote to approve the application to transfer this BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license with continued live and table service.
Also approve the application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service based on the proffer and information received on the application.
And I too join my colleagues based on the application, the proffer from Ms. Nardangeli. I too would approve the transfer of ownership with the continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service.
No exhibits for the record.
Ms. Thomas, the board will be sending you correspondence via U.S. mail regarding its decision and next steps for licensure.
Thank you very much. And may I just say, you will be sorely missed, Mr. Akers. I have very much enjoyed working with you and appreciate all of the hard work you put into making this a wonderful agency. So thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Akers, I believe that concludes our docket, does it?
Yes, that doesn't conclude our docket.
All right,
And I
so-
should have changed it. I apologize. The board will be in recess till January 21st, 2021.
Okay. And before we go, I just want to say that normally at this time of the year, we, as an agency, get together to celebrate the holidays. We're not going to be able to do that, obviously, this year because of the pandemic. But I want to wish everybody from top to bottom at the Liquor Board happy holidays and offer my sincere thanks to them for the tremendous work they've done throughout the year, especially under very difficult times. And I look forward to continuing to have great success in 2021, even without our star deputy executive secretary. So happy holidays to everyone, including the other commissioners.
Same to you.
Same to you, sir. Everybody be safe.
Take care.
You do the same.
Happy holidays.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.